Hello, welcome back to Survivor LU After Party. I'm coming to you from Utah this time. So I am here with Delaney Schaubel, the 9th eliminated player from Survivor LU Season 2. Delaney, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Sam?
I am good. I am very tired, but very good. So we're going to get into it. So day one, you pull up to see 17 other people waiting for you on a field all ready to play Survivor. What was your first immediate thought?
That I felt like a faker. I watched one season of Survivor. I binged it right before. And I was like, these people are going to see right through me and know that I am just going to chew me up and spit me out.
But that was not the case because you came off as a very big threat and were voted as the leader right off the bat from the Tiwi tribe. Did that surprise you at all? Or were you like, yeah, I'm ready. I'll be the leader. Let's go.
Yeah, I think leader is something that people always, like you see, I mean, in Survivor, now I watch it. And people want that, but they don't want to be the one to ask for it. So it was definitely really awesome to be seen as that. And I was definitely excited about that. Especially since it was like so quick off the bat. I didn't really have to, like, it wasn't like me making a move to become a leader. It was like them choosing for me. So yeah, I thought it was really cool. And then obviously it gave me really awesome connections with Ethan and then CK, which was a huge part of my game. So I probably wouldn't have had that without being leader.
So you go throughout the game so far, your tribe is immune. You're forming a lot of connections, but as you said, most notably with Ethan and CK. How did that sort of come about? Did you know Ethan or CK before the game, or did that bond kind of just happen naturally?
Yeah, I was at Hey Cow one night with my friend who had convinced me to play Survivor. And Ethan walked by and I didn't even recognize him. He was like, "Hey, you're on Survivor, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." "Wait, you're on the other tribe, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he like looked around and was like, "Okay, give me your number really quick." And then so that's how we got connected, like literally randomly. It was just past each other at Hey Cow, best restaurant on campus. Bless up. And
That is so
then
false.
I know, but no one else agrees, but it's awesome. But yeah, and then I don't really know how, I think CK was, Ethan had already met with him and he was like early on, let's meet up with CK. And so the three of us met and then CK pulled me aside in his little sneaky way and was like, all right, let's talk. So I met CK through him and then Ethan was just super random, like day 3 of playing.
So you guys finally get the tribal council. You've had these alliances for a bit, and Tiwi and Masai are both going to tribal council. And pretty early off the bat, Madeline just quits the game. Says, "Vote me out." Um, what was your reaction to that? And who was the target before Madeline was going to get voted out?
Yeah, that was really tough because coming in, me, Tori, and Sophie were all like Madeline, like could be an awesome fourth for us. And she was sweet and we just like really got along. And like wrestled with like, why would we vote her out if she's a vote? Like we could literally just say, Madeline, like you don't even have to play. Like show up Tuesday, don't do anything, show up Monday, whatever night, don't do anything, and like just vote with us. But then we were also like, we can't force her to stay in the game because then she could hate us because we're forced her to play this game. So I definitely did not want to do it, and we were all frustrated. And also, it felt like we couldn't make a move because we're voting for this girl who's quitting. But yeah, she was awesome. It just sucks that it was so quick. I think probably Haley or Melanie. Me and Sophie and Tori were already really tight at that point. Um, so I don't really know what way that would have gone because like immediately, like we met Madeline and then she quit. So we
Right.
didn't really have time to brainstorm what would happen if she didn't do that.
So why not two birds with one stone? Is it because that she's going to hate you? Like you vote out Haley, you don't respect Madeline's wishes, and then Madeline's still in the game and she might quit again already. It's like, why not just take out two members of your tribe? Was it just because she was going to hate you because you didn't want to be so down in numbers from 6-4 in one night? Like, why, like, did that thought come across to you, Vic or Sophie, at all? Or you're just like, yeah,
I think, yeah, that makes sense. And I think, I don't know if we thought about the numbers that way. Like if we had kept Madeline or if we had voted off one of the other girls and kept Madeline, if she was against us, that was still another against us. But at the time, Haley and I were like really good. We like talked and like we're close, but we worked together the whole time we played. And so I think we were kind of more worried of if we try and make a move another direction, um, we couldn't get Madeline and we couldn't get Haley and Melanie probably to turn on each other. So the three of us, if Madeline didn't choose to vote with them, and just like I think we were worried she'd be a wild card of like, oh, they kept me and I didn't even want to play and just like totally flip our game. So I think it was like, we know where we stand with the tribe, and like we felt good with our tribe. Melanie was the only one we didn't feel like was with us. So I don't even think we felt like we didn't need the numbers for Tiwi. We definitely did later, but.
So the very next week, there's a tribe swap. You guys are put into one tribe, the Koinonia tribe. And you and Haley are the only people from Tiwi going to tribal council. And you're there with CK, you're there with Jay High, you're there with a bunch of other people that you may or may not trust. Were you confident that CK was going to keep you in and had your back with the rest of the Kalahari tribe? Or were you really nervous that night and that Haley's gone no matter what?
I was not confident, and CK told me so. If you watch when I watched it back, I was like laughing because the whole time in tribal, I'm trying to catch CK's eye because I was so scared. And Ethan had said so many times, he's like, Delaney, like, I promise you, like, you're good. And CK had told me, but he does that where he's like, you're good. And he like laughs. I'm like, CK, when you laugh after you tell me something, I can't trust what you're saying. And so the whole tribal, I was like trying to get his attention. And I probably felt more helpless at that tribal than at any other point, because when I went home, I knew it was coming and I had played my whole hand. But yeah, I was terrified. And then afterwards, CK was like, told you to trust me, and started laughing again. So I was like, I know. But yeah, I definitely was really, really, really nervous. I think the fact that it was just the two of us. And then immediately after we lost the challenge, CK looked at me and was like, you weren't supposed to lose, because obviously I threw it. And I was like, well, CK, that wasn't the plan. So yeah, that was very stressful week for me, for sure.
So the very next week, all three of you are safe. None of you are going to tribal council, but you, CK, and Ethan are still working through everything, all the different scenarios. And then you and Ethan kind of decide, like, we don't trust CK and he has to go. And you see that in the fight between Ethan and CK is that he's done with CK. What sort of flipped you to be more on Ethan's side than CK? Because you were working closely with both of them. Was it your friendship with Ethan that kind of just trumped it, or did you also agree with Ethan, like, CK can't be in here much longer?
I think kind of you see Ethan and I both like realizing it at a similar time of like, we've been like, CK knows our whole hand and he's not giving that back to us at all, which that's his gameplay. Like, kudos to him, but that wasn't the way that we were playing. And there was one point, that scene where we're all in the room and we're like, CK's like drawing a map of like who has who and like how we're connected to everybody, whatever. Ethan left and CK drew it again. He was like, look, Delaney, like, me and you both have more than Ethan. Like, we're more powerful than Ethan. And like literally drew out to me that he had like all of these people on his side and that me and him had the same numbers and Ethan didn't. And immediately I was like, if this is a final three, then like, why are you telling me like, oh, we got him? Like, we weren't competing against each other at that point. It was so early. And I remember the night of the fight, because I just get a call from Ethan. He's like, I'm done with him. Like, we just had a fight. It was crazy watching it back because neither one of them would tell me anything. They're just like, we fought. I was like, okay, what does that mean? And so, yeah, I think definitely like at that point, Ethan and I were really, really close, and like outside of the game also. And yeah, I just didn't ever feel, when I was around CK, I never felt like settled. Just like your survivor instinct, like it never was completely there with CK. And then when that last day when we sat down, and I just sat in between them, and then they just like, we all kind of went at each other. Like, that was the most uncomfortable conversation. And the whole time I was just like, I know that there's just so much lying happening. And so Ethan, like, we never lied to each other. And I knew that, and I knew I could trust him. And so, yeah, it was just like a lot of things. And that was just like the breaking point. So
the merge finally hits. The 12 of you, 4 Tiwi, 4 Masai, 4 Kalahari. You're all there. You find the idol night one, or the odds idol.
Yeah.
What was your strategy with that right off the get-go? Did you know you had to play it that week, or do you think like, I need to play that thing for Hallie, I need to play that thing for Idris? Why Hallie? Like, what made you decide to play it on Hallie?
Mhm.
And did you know from the get-go that it was you versus CK at that point?
Yeah, I think that I did. It was either going to be for Hallie or Idris because everyone else was kind of a question mark. Even Lily, where like she could maybe be with us. And so Hallie and Idris, I was like, I know those are votes against me. And I don't really know why I ended up choosing her. I think Hallie's awesome. She's so unproblematic and she's just like chill. And so that might have been part of like, I just was like, I think that'll cause less drama. Hallie and I were friends. So it wasn't like this huge drama. It was just like, dude, what the heck? So I did not know I was going to play it. We sat down with Lily that day, me, Soph, and Tori, and we walked away and we had 30 minutes till tribal. And we were like, she's not with us. And like something in the way that that conversation went, we knew it was me and CK. So we were calling Ethan. We couldn't get him on the phone. We couldn't find him. I'd given Tori the idol because I didn't think that I was going to need it. I literally got it back from her in the bathroom like 2 minutes before tribal. That's why at the end, Austin was like, what is happening? Because literally in like the 15 minutes before tribal, we decided to play it. And so, yeah, it was crazy. And it was not what we played. Cause I didn't want to be the person who gets an idol and then uses it the next day like that. I wanted to save it, but I knew that if I saved it, then we're still going to be down in the numbers. It wouldn't matter. So,
Yeah. So you and Sophie were really close, but it's revealed that in episode 6, she was genuinely hurt by the stuff that you kept from her, the fake idol, the relationship with CK. Was that surprising to you to see back in her confessional that she's still stuck with you? Or did you know that already? Like, I think Sophie's going to get hurt. Was that your first reaction to seeing Sophie kind of be really sad that you didn't keep that, you kept that from her?
yeah, I did not know. That episode was really hard for me to watch. Like I might have cried, honestly, just because like Sophie is one of my favorite people. And I literally texted her that night and I was like, dude, I did not even realize. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, yeah, I had no idea at all. And it sucked to see. And it's just so weird the way that, because like we're not on an island for 40 days and like that is definitely like a very specific relationship, but like these relationships we've been building for weeks and months, like we knew each other really well. And so yeah, that sucked. I think seeing on like later on, a lot happens. Like even with Jacob, like she had the final day one, her and Jacob were planning to go into the together. So I think like as soon as like I was starting to know those things, it was easier for me to not be completely honest with her, but it was never malicious. And yeah, I did not know it was that hurtful to her. And so that was really, really hard to see. And there's been a lot of reconciliation outside of the game, I think, with a lot of relationships, at least that I've seen.
Yeah.
Of just like, I love you and like played a great game, but you can't play a nice game with everyone and make it anywhere, you know? So yeah.
So the night after CK is eliminated in one of probably the closest votes we've seen, in a 6-5 vote, where if Hallie had not gone, it would have been a tie. Do you think it would have gone to Rocks between your alliance and CK's alliance, or do you think someone from your side would have flipped to avoid going to Rocks?
Yeah.
And who would have flipped?
Austin, Ethan, Soph, and Vic wouldn't have flipped. But I wonder if Chadwick would have. I didn't have any of the conversations with him leading up to that. Like I had Ethan in my ear all week saying like, we have Chadwick. I promise you he's with us. And I don't know how those conversations went. I don't even know how Ethan convinced him. And it looked like Chadwick was really not very regretful of that decision. And so maybe he would have flipped back. I could see that for sure. So yeah, I don't know. That would have been really interesting. So praise the Lord, I found that idol.
And then that night you play the idol, and seconds later, Vic finds another one. And then a month goes by of nothing. You guys are in quarantine. The pandemic has started. I remember that because I was on the crew at that time, just not knowing what was going to happen to Survivor. Then you guys are back playing it virtually, which I don't think anybody really expected. And then the Austin vote comes, and there's that tribal council. what caused you to whisper to Vic, play it for me? Because at that point, it was the six of you, and Ethan was reassuring you, I've got Chadwick. Chadwick's with us. Why tell Vic, play the idol for me, and why save it? Like, why were you so certain that you needed it to be played on yourself?
Yeah, that is my biggest regret, is that we played that idol wrong. We were gonna play the idol that night regardless. We had been talking literally all day about who to play it for. We didn't think it was Ethan.
Like, you had
We
immunity.
oh yeah, exactly. We didn't think it was Sophie or Tori. I don't even know. We like spent all week talking about it, and it's hard because Chadwick was in a lot of those conversations because Ethan was like, he's with us, he's with us. And so I don't even remember. I think there was a couple conversations with just like the core five of us, and knew we were gonna play it. I don't remember who we were gonna play it for. I think we were thinking Vic or Sophie, and just like something in, I don't even know what it was in me, but something about the conversation at Tribal, I was like, they're not voting for one of the girls. And Austin has said this multiple times. And he's like, I told you guys to play it for me. And I think we just like, if like, I genuinely don't remember him saying that. And I think if we had sat down and been like, okay, like we would have played it for him in a second. I just think that there was so many, we literally talked for hours, like, who do we play it for? And every single name was put out and all the reasons why and all the reasons why not. And so I was just like convinced that whoever we were planning to play it for, it was either Tori or Sophie. It wasn't going to be them. And I just was like that. It's for some reason, I just know it's not them. And so I said me, and I just didn't even think they would go to Austin. And watching, I'm like, well, that makes so much sense, of course. And so I hate that we didn't play it for Austin. That sucked. But yeah, it was.
He said in his after party last week that he told you guys in a phone call, he was like, play it for me. And you guys just didn't even hear him.
I know. I was like, Austin, say it louder, say it again. But
I think it's so funny that Austin, with the least amount of Survivor knowledge out of anyone, put together the
yeah,
whole reasoning behind played the idol for me,
yeah.
which is so sad because we all love Austin and he's the golden retriever. It's episode 8, the end of the road. Probably the saddest episode ever came on. I just watched it with you 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
You and I both had some tears in our eyes. I'll be the first to admit. Why do you think? Well, so you didn't know at the time, but do you give credit to Sophie for not playing that idol for you and holding on to it? We can't reveal what becomes of Sophie in the idol, but for right now, knowing Sophie had the idol, are you kind of upset or disappointed Sophie didn't play it for you, or do you get kind of the reasoning, maybe whatever her reasoning is?
Yeah, I definitely get it. Once it was like I mean, at that time, we didn't know that she had it. And so once the game carried on and it came to our knowledge, I was like, oh my gosh, like we could have stayed a majority. And I definitely had that thought of like, why would you not play it? And we've had conversations about it at this point, and just like, there's so many scenarios that run through your head of what you could have done with it. And so when I first found out this idol existed, she had it, I was like, what the heck? Why didn't you play it for somebody? We could have got the majority back. But also, like, kudos to her. That's, like playing an idol for somebody is huge. And I think we had like a really special group of people, and just like the way that our alliance was so like embedded in our friendships, we were like really close, and I feel like played things for each other more than most Survivor gameplay I watch. But also, like, you can't hold it against somebody for keeping their advantage for themselves or for their own play later, not to like sacrifice it for you. So
Why do you think that in a game like Survivor LU, which is just a college game that you can play with your friends, why do you think it becomes so emotional for people when you can see them on campus any other day? What was emotional about that vote for Ethan? Um, and why do you think it had the impact that it did, where you both love each other, but you have to go to stay in this game? Do you think that that's a testament to how Survivor LU is? Like, we all love this game so much, this means so much to us. So why do you think that it was as emotional?
yeah. I think a big part of it is just like yeah, like I said it, like you can't understand the community and like the people. And like now, 2.5 years later, like that is true more than ever. I didn't even know you when I played the game, and and like now we're like all best friends. And so I think that's definitely a testament. I think another big thing is like this is like COVID, and we're like terrified, and we're living in this world that like we don't understand. I spoke to Austin, Tori, Sophie, Ethan multiple times every single day. And so I think part of it was like, oh my gosh, like I'm learning to COVID was scary. It was terrifying for all of us. We didn't know what was going on. I like Survivor is like a lifeline. Tori and I have talked about this so much. Like I had just been diagnosed with OCD. And so I was like trying to just figure all of these things out. And just Survivor was like this like solid rock, and like these people that like I was constantly in connection with. And so it was like, dang, am I going to still talk to these people? And definitely I did often. But I think especially like with Ethan, I mean, we were genuinely best friends, and he lived in Alaska and I lived on the East Coast, and we didn't know if we were going to be stuck in our houses for years or for whatever. And so I think that was just like a chapter like really closing, and not knowing like what friendship forward would look like with him, with Victoria, with Austin, with Sophie. And so I think that also made it really emotional. And just like I remembered like a month after the finale ended, like looking back at TikToks we had made as Survivor and like all these different things, and like getting like in my bag, like emotional, just because I was like, oh, I miss that so much. And it sucked that it had to go online, but also like it was such a rock and like a constant as we began to pick that up in the midst of not knowing what life was going to look like. And so I think that was just a huge constant, and I didn't want to lose, but I definitely didn't. And I said that in my final confessional, I was excited for the next part of Survivor, and being on the jury was like one of the most fun things ever. So that was really awesome too.
So you said something really sweet in your exit interview about how you're going to remain friends with these people, about what Survivor LU has given you. Mm-hmm. You and I have become close through it, but who from season 2 do you still have that genuine friendship with?
Yeah.
And I think people would want to know that, because it's really interesting seeing you guys play together.
Yeah.
The season came out 2.5 years ago. Is there anyone that you're still close with? Anyone you still talk to on a daily basis? Like, who is that for you?
Yeah, there's a lot of people I still love and talk to. I talked to Sophie. Austin texted me yesterday. And it's like funny because it's Tori, obviously. Tori's one of my best friends in the world. She came to visit me during COVID. So yeah, Victoria, definitely one of my closest friends. I'm about to move to Europe, and I'm going to see her before I go. Like, she's awesome. And really funny, Lily too. We've talked so much about her. In fact, that we should have all played together, and she should have joined, and we should have voted in blocks or whatever. But I went to visit. You can see her donkeys in the background of one of her confessionals in the last episode. And I went to visit her at her farm this year after she graduated, and she came to my graduation. So yeah, it's just been super cool, especially to see like friendships with people that I didn't play with technically. And everyone is awesome. Like Chadwick constantly reaches out and is just often like encouraging and just like, hey, you're awesome. Like, hope you're doing well. He's great. So it's just super fun. But I would definitely say Tori and Lily are both two of my probably closest friends in life. I broke my finger last month, and I literally called Lily immediately. I was like, okay, like, what do I do? And like text her updates for like a whole week. So yeah, it's just really, really cool to see 2.5 years later, graduated from college, living in different states. It's super cool.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about Chadwick is that outside the game, like, he's one of the nicest people ever.
Oh, we all love him. We're all like, Chad's awesome. And in the show, he's like all over the place, and we're like, Chadwick burned us and he saved us. But yeah, Chadwick's awesome. And I don't think any person I've ever met that played Survivor has said a bad thing about Chadwick.
He will, in the At Odds group chat to this day, that's still pretty frequent. He will like every single message that you sent, regardless of what it is. So he'll even like the autocorrects. And it's so funny because he's like, hey guys, what's up? Yeah, great. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. This is so great. Well, Delaney, I think in terms of Survivor LU, you're going to go down as a legend, regardless if you come back to play or not. We can't reveal that, but I think you're going to go down as a legend. I think that move is iconic of the idol play. I think Survivor LU has brought together a lot of people you never thought would bring together, and you and I become close through it. So I love you. Thank you so much for hopping on, and we will see everybody next week for Survivor LU. Thank you, Delaney, so much.
Of course, love you. Thank you.